Welcome to another episode of the Mount Rushmore of everything. Today, we are talking about the Mount Rushmore of NBA players.
NBA players, the National Basketball Association.
And this is why Sam has joined us for this episode, because I'm a sports guy, mostly football, but sports guy in general. Sam's a sports guy. Carlo is the type of guy that sometimes, once in a while, may or may not, sort of unironically say the word sports ball.
We're going to agree on one, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I think everybody's going to agree on one.
Everybody knows.
Which brings us to, we always start now with non-negotiables. I think I only have one true non-negotiable, maybe two.
I got three.
Three? Okay, I can see three. Yeah.
All right.
How many do you have?
One.
Okay. So 2, 1, some kind of a
Maybe
1, 2.
Maybe two.
I know at least two, but I'm pretty sure three.
But one. Just one.
So, without further ado, who wants to start?
Me.
Go ahead.
All right. What is your first non-negotiable?
No negotiable.
Yeah, you got to start with the obvious
The
ones.
GOAT.
He's not
Maybe.
the GOAT, but he's the non-negotiable.
Okay, fine.
Michael Jordan.
Interesting.
What?
Interesting. Starting a flame war, not the GOAT. So is LeBron your GOAT then?
I'm not answering that.
Well, you said he's not the
We're
GOAT,
not
which
gonna
means you
incriminate
firmly
you, man.
have an opinion.
There's two people who could be the GOAT, but
All right.
they're both better than
But
Jordan.
Jordan is a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
two people that you think are better than Jordan.
Not better, but... Okay, one, and then another person.
But then again, we're not ranking them.
Yeah, we're not ranking them.
We're not ranking them.
Just for clarity, this is the Mount Rushmore,
Well,
which doesn't
we're not-
necessarily mean top 4. So these
I'm
are not necessarily the best
I'm not
four
saying
players.
the Mount Rushmore. I'm saying the GOAT conversation.
No, I know. We're clarifying for that.
One of the two
For him.
people I said aren't on my list.
Interesting.
Okay, so...
We'll have to get into that after.
Yeah.
So Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Has to be the obvious one.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you think NBA,
I mean,
Michael
I saw
Jordan's
the
gotta be the first
stats
thing
of
that
that,
comes to mind.
and he's like, there's like the best, and then vroom, all the way up there.
Yeah.
Very cold.
yeah, he has everything you want
Very
in a
high
player.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's him.
He even has like all the way down to the sneakers. He has the movie. He was the consensus GOAT for a long time. Now there's the discussion between him and LeBron, which I won't get into, but there's a
And
discussion
Kobe.
there.
Hold on, don't get ahead.
I'm talking about the GOAT, not the
Fine,
Mount Rushmore.
hold on.
Yeah, it is a separate thing. And he just has all those check boxes. He has the 6 championships. He has so and anybody who got into basketball in the 80s, 90s, like Jordan.
That particularly
Jordan's
was a time that I was interested in the NBA. Maybe I didn't get into the whole numbers thing of it, but I would watch all of the Chicago Bulls, especially the playoffs.
Yeah.
I would be there with my buddy watching them.
His killer instinct was awesome.
Yeah, he was just amazing.
Kobe did have that
He was a
instinct
show.
as well.
And I remember,
Fun to watch.
you know, when the Olympics in Barcelona in '92, and they had the one dream team, and it was like Michael Jordan there, and you see him in on the streets of Barcelona, and there's a big Air Jordan poster with
sure.
him, and he's just there looking at it. It's like, oh man, that is
That's
just
so cool.
Yeah, so cool.
With the Dream Team, he only played on that team to learn about the other players so that he could beat them in the regular season.
If so, brilliant. Love it.
Like he said that's what he did.
I love it. His killer instinct. I love it. So, Michael
tongue,
Jordan,
the
the
tongue.
obvious. The what?
The tongue.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he had to get the tongue out when he was just like, man, it's so cool. He has
so
his
cool.
own style. Come on.
Yeah.
Not
Gotta
just
love it.
basketball, but it's just the whole thing. It was just so cool. I don't think there's anyone, and probably will never be anyone like him.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be very hard.
So, Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
Our
Michael
consensus has to be on there, non-negotiable.
Mr.
We're all in
Jordan,
agreement so far.
my respects to you, sir.
I love your sneakers.
You made a believer in basketball. At what?
I said I love his sneakers.
Okay, well.
I hope he
Anyway,
watches this,
Yes.
just so that's what he gets out
Yes.
of this.
Send me sneakers.
tell me, nigga,
Of all
are you a
things-
beggar?
And you don't even want them autographed? Like, really? You want his sneakers? Why don't you ask for a basketball that's signed or something?
Oh
That's
my
just
goodness.
silly.
Again,
Just
please
silly.
forgive
Yeah,
him.
he's 14. He doesn't know anything.
We're trying.
Yeah, this is why he's the assistant to the producer, even though we don't have a regular producer.
Yeah.
This one is one that, going in, I thought, this person could be on there. And then coming out, I said, he has to be on there. And that is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Has to be on there. Changed the league.
Okay.
The NCAA had to change rules just so that he wouldn't be a cheat code.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, have the iconic skyhook.
Mm-hmm.
He changed the center position forever, made it something that wasn't just like, the tallest guy who wasn't that athletic. He made it an athletic position. He also started revolutionizing the whole, how they kept up with their bodies, and he did yoga and all this other stuff to keep up with his body, which is what allowed him to play 20 years. Played until he was 42 and was very good for most of that. Of course, he has a bunch of championships too. I believe 5? Question mark.
Can't remember.
I think it's 5.
I looked at that, but I can't remember at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, the skyhook gets mega points. The whole changing the position and of course changing the way that they took care of their bodies. And he is the all-time scoring leader. So between all those, I had to put him on there.
Okay, I agree with that. Again, I didn't have him in my non-negotiables.
Sure.
But I had him in my list. So yeah.
Well, we only had one non-negotiable, right?
Right.
One true non-negotiable.
Right.
He was my 4th.
He's borderline for me.
But
Interesting. Okay.
I knew I had to put him on there because, yeah.
Great reasoning. Consensus
Totally.
so far.
Totally.
Let's see if we can get 3. 3 for 3.
Okay. Third one, and again, this one, there is some weight to his, and I think very like real reasoning from the technical part of his performances and his career. But also, again, as someone who is an outsider and knows about basketball, and I remember when he first started making buzz, at least even in Mexico where I was at the time, and they would always say, he's the next Michael Jordan, he's the next big thing in the NBA, and that's Kobe Bryant.
Interesting. Most interesting.
Yeah.
Sam, is he on your 4?
No.
He's also not on my 4. Kobe, that's an interesting choice. He was on my borderline.
Okay.
He was one of those that were like fighting over my 4th spot.
Okay.
Because despite the fact that I had only one true non-negotiable, I had like 3 semi-obvious ones. So I had like, if you will, 1 class 1 non-negotiable, and then 2 class 2 non-negotiables, and then there was like 6 people fighting over my 4th spot. He was one of them. Didn't end up going with him just because in some ways he felt like the second Michael Jordan that was not quite Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Which sort of was points against him. And I don't know.
And again, I saw him play maybe 2 times. But he was a popular name that always,
for sure.
You know, when they talked about NBA at his time, it was him. There was, I can't remember who else. I mean, there were a few names from before that were like on their way out.
Sure.
But the newcomers, it was him. So
for sure, he is definitely a generational talent. That is. I mean, the fact that he is often in the GOAT discussion. He's sort of like, it's like the 2, and then people are like, wait a second, let's talk about Kobe. He was the biggest star for the first half of my life or so in the league. Mm-hmm. I mean, Michael Jordan was still relevant for part of my life, but then Kobe would have been there.
All right.
I do think he deserves a spot for sure. So I don't disagree with yours.
Okay.
I just didn't have him.
who would be
Well,
your third one?
Kobe quite literally was in this guy's shadow, and
I see where this is going.
and one of the things I'm basing this off of is he has the highest rating in NBA 2K. So he's like the best
That's
player.
hilarious.
Oh, well.
That's hilarious.
He is.
He's bringing that up as an argument,
Oh,
eh?
that's hilarious.
All right.
It's Shaq.
Yeah,
Okay.
saw that coming. I bet he was also on my list. I thought about those two, and a part of the reason I kicked him off was I thought that I couldn't put him on instead of Kobe. And I don't even have Kobe on, but I definitely felt I couldn't put Shaq on without Kobe. That and I think there are at least 2 centers above him.
Okay.
So that would mean I would need to have 3 centers
Are
on
any
the
of the
list.
centers on your list?
Well, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Who would be
was
the other one?
The other one that would be
Who is the
above
other
him
one?
would be Wilt Chamberlain, I think. Bill Russell has an argument, but Bill Russell, I think, is elevated by the fact that he won 11 championships with the greatest dynasty in sports history, probably in the Boston Celtics back in the 70s. So I think he's inflated by that, whereas Wilt Chamberlain had a while where he was the most dominant player, and he's arguably the most dominant player in league history, not necessarily best, but most dominant because he just was a tall man who could not be stopped. So my reasoning was basically it was hard to put Shaq there when I felt like he wasn't even number 1 on his own team, because that was Kobe,
Yeah.
and I felt like he wasn't even he's maybe top 3 center. And then I have to have 3 centers on, probably.
You see my
Not
face?
necessarily that greatest.
Totally blank.
Is not that necessarily greatest is entirely relevant. I do think on the iconic part, Shaq is incredibly iconic.
I think Shaq would probably be like the 3rd most iconic in all NBA players.
He is up there. He definitely, I mean, he still has those icy hot ads, and he's been retired for like 15 years. Yeah.
He's a meme. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of like my retort to the Kobe one, he was not on my list, but I don't hate it.
Okay.
Like, no part of me is like, no, you're wrong.
Right.
I just didn't have it.
I just picked him
considered it.
because of how good he was, plus how relevant he is still.
Both of those are totally valid.
So who is your next one?
So my third, which I struggle with, because again, recency bias and everything, but at the end of the day, when you are locked head to head in the GOAT discussion, it's hard to leave you off. When you are the number 1 star in the NBA for the last 15 years or whatever it's been, when you are, I believe, the last player to come straight from high school in NBA history, and when you do all of the things that he has done, it is very hard to keep LeBron James off.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Because he is the greatest of all time.
He is
agree.
arguably the greatest of all time.
So do you agree with that?
Oh, he was my number 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
LeBron? LeBron was your number 1 non-negotiable?
He was my number 1 pick.
Well, but remember, we're
There's
not
no
ranking
ranking.
them.
There's no ranking.
No, but he was the first person I thought of.
Okay. Well, was he a
But
non-negotiable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we have all 3 of your non-negotiables now?
I think so. Yeah, right? Jordan?
Well, we have all 4 of his now.
Yeah.
Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, and Shaq.
Yep.
Okay.
So we have all 4 of yours.
Jordan, Kareem, Kobe, and LeBron.
Wow. So I guess I have to go twice in a row. This last one was so hard for me. There's so many that I thought of, from Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, who I mentioned before, Shaq, Kobe. There are some others maybe in there. I thought of some like Dwayne Wade and stuff, but he quickly was erased by these other guys. And it's so hard to pick one from the list I just said. To the point that going
so
into
it's in
this,
that list.
it will be in that list.
Okay.
But it's so hard for me to
have no
choose
idea.
one. I almost have no idea. So I kept going back and forth.
Yeah.
I keep cycling between Magic and Wilt. So Wilt, my reasoning is he, to this day, is considered had the most dominant stretch of any player ever in history. He's also a pretty iconic name. Now, I do feel like he is a name that if you weren't into basketball, you might not know. Whereas Magic Johnson, you absolutely know whether or not you have ever heard of basketball. He was the Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan, in a sense.
Wilt.
No.
Oh, Magic.
Magic.
Yes.
Which is why I think I'm going to go with Magic. I feel like at the end of the day, if I have to put somebody in that iconic place,
I
feel like he has to be above Wilt Chamberlain, which I feel bad. Wilt Chamberlain deserves a spot. I feel like Shaq deserves that spot. I feel like Kobe deserves a spot. There's so many deserving names, but I'm going to end up going with Magic.
Wow. I agree. It's. I mean, I already have my 4, but I also considered him. I just
did you consider
to pick
him?
Those.
No, really, because I just came up with my list and then didn't really consider anybody else.
Wow.
I did think of Wilt and Larry Bird.
Yeah. My reasoning against Larry Bird is it feels like if you choose Larry, you have to put Magic. Is my reasoning. It kind of feels like the Shaq Wilt thing. It almost feels wrong to put Shaq and not Wilt, but in a way it doesn't because he is definitely more iconic. But then the Kobe thing, it feels bad to put Shaq above Kobe. So he has sort of had like 2 things against him, but at the same time he's more iconic than both those players, which is why he still was in the argument for me. So let us know in the comments, who was right? Do you disagree with one of our 3 that we all agreed on? Give us your list, drop a like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell, smash it, hit it hard to make sure that you know
Hit it hard.
when the next... I mean, don't break your phone.
Yeah,
don't
no.
break your phone. You don't have to hit it that hard. You just gotta
If you
tap
do,
a little
don't
bit.
blame it on this guy. Please.
Yeah. I am not liable for your silly mistakes for taking my words literally. So, we will see you next time. Let us know in the comments what you think.
Adieu.